going on, dudes? It is David here and welcome back to another video on my channel. In today's video we will be doing a review slash analysis of the Go Bowling 300, I think that's the name. But it was here at Watkins, well, it wasn't here, it was at Watkins Glen International Speedway. This race had a lot of chaos, a lot of tempers flying, and we're going to go through certain events that I definitely have an opinion on because, as you guys saw, and as you guys know, I'm a 24 fan, but we'll get into that right after we go through the list of finishers. So as you can see right here, this is the top 20 of the NASCAR Go Bowling at the Glen. And the winner of the race, obviously, as you guys can see right here, was Chase Elliott. But not only was it Chase Elliott and Martin Truex Jr., if you guys remember from 2018, these two had the same battle, and Chase Elliott came out on top again. And before I continue anything more, I want to say happy birthday to my favorite driver, Jeff Gordon. He turns 48 years old today, and 2 more years and he is 50. Where Jeff Gordon could be right now if he was still racing? Hey, I'm so glad he got to finish. He got to do his finish career the way he did. But moving back onto the race, the next 3 finishers were all Joe Gibbs, but there was one Joe Gibbs guy that wasn't there that you would expect to be in there. Second place was Truex Jr., as you guys heard me say. Third place was Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin had probably one of the most boring races of this whole season because he just stayed in third place and never got passed. And then when it came to fourth place, Eric Jones has a very good finish. Of course, Eric Jones is not a very good road course racer, but he did manage to get a fourth place and a very good finish, which means that's good for him in the points, and I'm pretty sure he is now locked into the playoffs. Fifth place was Ryan Blaney, and Ryan Blaney actually did get damage from a little contact he had earlier with Joey Logano that ended up causing Joey Logano's car to not be good for the whole race, but Ryan Blaney ended up working his way back up and finishing 5th. Now, 6th place, I gotta give this guy a shout out. This guy ran very good last weekend, and he runs very good this weekend. Matt DiBenedetto finishes 6th place. This guy is proving the haters wrong and proving Joe Gibbs wrong about, well, we don't know if Joe Gibbs is going to replace him yet, but the talk is right now that Joe Gibbs wants to replace, maybe we'll replace Matt D with like Christopher Bell or Eric Jones, considering Christopher Bell is dominating that Xfinity Series down there. I think he has like 5 wins down the Xfinity Series, so yeah, he definitely deserves to be in the Cup ride. He's signed for Joe Gibbs through next year, but whether he'll spend another year in the boring Xfinity Series or whether he'll move up into the Cup, that's Joe Gibbs' decision. 7th place we have Kevin Harvick. 8th place we have Kyle Larson. 9th place we have Brad Keselowski. And then 10th and 11th place we have Kurt Busch and his brother Kyle Busch. I just want to go in on Kyle Busch for one thing. I really like Kyle Busch. I will defend Kyle Busch in most instances. But today, he drove like an idiot. The first incident with him and William Byron was completely his fault. William Byron is going down into the corner, and it's hard racing, but he never pinched Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch just drove it down too hard into the corner and ended up spinning himself out. And you know what he does? He decides to go back near William Byron, get William Byron's back bumper, send William Byron through the grass, and William Byron ended up having William Byron had to go to pits to fix that. And then under caution, if you guys watch the actual replay, William Byron does not actually attempt to spin out Kyle Busch. If you look at Kyle Busch's tires during the video, Kyle Busch actually brake checks William Byron. If you see, as William Byron's looking to run into the back, Kyle Busch tires screech, and you can see smoke coming from Kyle Busch's tires. And if William Byron is trying to spin out Kyle Busch, why were his tires smoking before William Byron even got there? Yeah, brake check. And then we have Kyle Busch versus Bubba Wallace. It seems like every driver I cheer for in NASCAR was involved today, all with that same driver, Kyle Busch. I'm still a Kyle Busch fan, but I'm mostly a William Byron fan and Bubba Wallace fan. But if I had to say my 3 favorite drivers in NASCAR, Bubba, William, Kyle Busch. I can't say anything else. Probably Jimmy Johnson. To Jimmy Johnson of that. The Kyle Busch versus Bubba Wallace, I think it was kind of both-sided because Bubba ran aggressively on Kyle Busch, and then Kyle Busch ran back aggressively, and then Bubba was just like, you know what, I'm going to dump you, spun Kyle Busch out. But, of course, Bubba didn't end up getting a good finish, and Kyle Busch ended up having a damaged car and still managed to finish 11th. So you can imagine if he didn't have a damaged car, I think he would have been right up there with Chase Elliott and Martin Truex Jr. battling for this win. But yeah, I honestly think he drove crazy today, but it paid out for him because he got the best finish out of all the guys he was involved with. I think based off the fact that William Byron had a lot of damage from Kyle Busch brake checking him, or as I see it, because I saw the replay and it looked like Kyle Busch had brake checked him more than anything else. But after that, we have Eric Almirola in 12th, Chris Buescher in 13th, a very good finish for Chris Buescher, finishing 13th. Alex Bowman probably having one of the most boring races for Hendrick Motorsports driver today. Obviously, Chase Elliott wins. William Byron getting involved with Kyle Busch and having that big damage, and we haven't even gotten to Jimmy Johnson yet. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in 15th. Michael McDowell with a very good top 20 in 16th. That's somebody I would never expect to be in there because I don't really see Michael McDowell as a very good road course racer. But look at that, he stayed quiet, ended up getting a top 20 in this. He has no chance to gain the points, but this is a very solid top 20 for Front Row Motorsports, and who knows, maybe this can come. They can keep getting top 20s, and yeah. Daniel Suarez in 17th. He kind of got into Daniel Hemrick. Was it Daniel Hemrick? Yeah, it was Daniel Hemrick going to the inner loop, and it wasn't really his fault, but I would just say they were being very aggressive, so it was kind of both sides' fault. But if I had to put blame on that incident, I would put more blame on Daniel Suarez because you can't go too wide through there. You can't. It's never gonna work out. Paul Menard in 18th, Jimmy Johnson in 19th, Clint Bowyer in 20th. Jimmy Johnson finishing 19th. Of course, Jimmy Johnson got his race ruined on accident by Ryan Blaney because Ryan Blaney accidentally, when they were going around the the carousel, Ryan Blaney accidentally got into Jimmy Johnson's back bumper and sent Jimmy Johnson into the tire wall, the tire barrier, and that ended up hurting Jimmy Johnson's whole race. But as we can see, Ryan Blaney, I just watched the interview for Ryan Blaney, and Ryan Blaney didn't do it on purpose, and I can probably tell he didn't do it on purpose, but of course Jimmy Johnson was upset. Jimmy Johnson, after the race, which I just saw, said that he had the most to lose because he is about for the playoffs, and yeah, I can understand Jimmy Johnson being upset, but it wasn't really Ryan Blaney's fault, and Ryan Blaney has never raced anybody dirty as far as I know. And I don't consider him to be one of the dirty drivers in NASCAR. So I don't see this as an intentional thing, and I don't see this as... It could be a thing that cost Jimmy Johnson into the playoffs, but I don't really see it as intentional. And I feel like Ryan Blaney didn't really do anything wrong here, even though he did get into the back bumper of Jimmy Johnson. Clint Bowyer in 20th. Clint Bowyer finished in the top 10 in both stages, but unfortunately had a tire cut down, I think, during the Kyle Busch and Bubba Wallace caution, and he ended up having to come to the pits and was never able to really fix his car enough to get back into the top 10, ends up finishing 20th, and as we're going to see on later in the video, that he's in a situation currently with the points. Well, he's not really in a situation right now, it's really Jimmy Johnson and Ryan Newman. And speaking about Ryan Newman, here are some other finishers that you guys may know of that are like household names or like names that you should know of that finished outside the top 20 because all I have right now is the top 20. Joey Logano finishes 23rd. Joey Logano, after the damage with Ryan Blaney, never seemed to have the same car he did before, and even if he was never really going to win this race, he was always like around top 10, top 15 car, and ended up finishing 23rd due to the damage, and his car was never really fixed. Ryan Newman finishing 25th. Ryan Newman actually blew a tire. I think it was about before the end of the second stage. And then, of course, as I said in the last video, I'm going to be doing this each one. Bubba Wallace finishes 28th. And William Byron actually did finish 21st. Now, William Byron, obviously, you guys know Chase Elliott did qualify in the pole. William Byron started second. William Byron had a top 10 car. I'm going to be honest with you. He had a top 10 car, and I feel like he could have finished in top 10. He did have some good stage 1 points, but stage 2, I just want to stop talking about this because I'm actually kind of upset with Kyle Busch over that. Like, he blames William Byron for that when William Byron never did anything wrong besides when he ran to the back of him after the caution. But that was only because Kyle Busch put him in the grass for no reason. Literally no reason. If you spin yourself out on what I've seen many drivers do, and they've never blamed the other driver, unless, the driver actually pinched him down. But if you guys look at it, William Byron never pinched him down, so Kyle Busch really spun himself out. So Kyle Busch only has to be upset with one person, and that is himself. But other than that, the stage 1 winner was Chase Elliott, the stage 2 winner was Chase Elliott, and the stage 3 winner, obviously the race winner, was Chase Elliott. So that means Chase Elliott took home the quadruple. He won the pole. He took home... He won the quintuple. He took home the pole. He took home stage 1. He took home stage 2. He took home the race win. And he took home the most laps led. That's the quintuple right there. I gotta give it to him. Chase Elliott, you had a fantastic race. But as we see right here, the point situation right now, William Byron, I'm pretty sure, is definitely safe with, I think, like 3 or 4 races to go and before the playoffs actually start. But as you guys can see, Jimmy Johnson and Ryan Newman right now are going to be battling for each other, are going to be battling for that 16th spot. And right now, with the next few races being Michigan, Bristol, Darlington, and Indianapolis. Indianapolis is a very strong track for Jimmy Johnson. Darlington, I would say, is an okay track for. I would say it's a better track for Jimmy Johnson than Ryan Newman. Michigan and Bristol are kind of even. Bristol, I give more to Jimmy Johnson, so I think Jimmy Johnson's gonna end up getting 16th spot over Ryan Newman. But we will see what happens then. But in terms of this race was a very great race with a lot of chaos and a lot of tempers flaring, as you can see from what I said. And every incident that basically went down, people getting spun out on purpose, i.e. Kyle Busch with William Byron. But at the end of the day, it was just a very great race, and it was great to see a rivalry in this race with Chase Elliott versus Martin Truex Jr. Now, as you guys can see by the title, as I titled it, Chase Elliott versus Joe Gibbs, or Chase Elliott versus Truex Jr. That's because past stage 1, that's literally what the race was. It was Chase Elliott versus Martin Truex Jr. Chase Elliott completely dominated stage 1, and then Chase Elliott dominated most of stage 2, but Truex finally was able to catch him down towards the end of stage 2, and then stage 3, it was just Elliott and Martin Truex Jr. throughout the whole thing. But that's it for this week's video, guys. Next week we will be at Bristol. Not Bristol, what am I on about? Next week we will be at Michigan, and if I remember right, who won the Michigan race? I forgot who won the Michigan race last time, but we'll see who wins that race next week, and we'll see what happens there. But anyway, guys, I will see you guys all later. Peace.